Hey, what is going on, you dead set legends? And welcome to the Ready Bang, the #1 interactive arm wrestling podcast in the world. I'm your host, the Aussie Arm Wrestler. And as always, I'm your Melbourne Cup 2019 left arm, third place amateur. I am the balls, but I'm also third best in the world. Just a bronze medal from a World Cup. Oh, because I'm a fucking beast. That's why. But all jokes aside, do I have two superstars with me? Of course, the man on top of my right shoulder. He is my Obi-Wan Jabroni. But more importantly, the man has just started his own restaurant, Antones. And we absolutely love it. And of course, he'll be competing February 24th in Montana. I'm talking about the Natrual, Jamie Sheldon. Jamie, how you going, buddy?
Good, man. Busy day. I just cracked the beer. I've been running around crazy picking up kids because they had a day off. They get so many days off now. Like they got Monday off. Okay, it's some president's birthday, right? And then I don't know why they have Friday off, but cool thing was
teachers workshops.
What's that?
Teachers workshops every other Friday. It seems like.
Yeah, all their teachers were at my restaurant for a luncheon, so I got to go there and serve them, say bye, and then here we are. So. Profitable, but crazy.
Yeah, my wife was a primary school teacher, so she knows all of the days off and public holidays and everything in there. And then as we roll over, the man above my left shoulder is competing in a Natrual Championship match at the same event, February 24th. He's taking on the big Ben Brooks from Montana Armbenders, and of course, I'm talking of three letters of doom. Everybody's Natty, RVJ. Rob, what's going on, mate?
Not much, buddy. My day wasn't as eventful as Jamie's, but there definitely was some bringing the kids back and forth to their Friday night parties. I got put on the hook for a last-minute charcuterie board, but done on like the teenage girl level. So instead of doing what everyone else did, I made some chocolate-covered strawberries and did the step it up a level for everybody. And you know, you got to be that last-minute dad and just running a little bit left and right, shucking and jiving. That's all.
Dadding hardcore, bro, right?
Yeah.
All three of us know.
So there's always something to be doing that's going to put you on, like, your step-up game.
Yeah.
That's why. Mrs. Aussie Arm Wrestler, I appreciate everything you do. These guys are doing everything, and you let me do nothing. It's amazing. I'm very, very lucky. But we are here. For those that don't know, there is an event coming up right there. Bang. It's going to be a brilliant event. Montana Armbenders, and they've got super matches. I think there's a tournament going on. But the talk of the town is the match at the top of the card. Rob Vidgen Jr. versus Ben Brooks. If you're not sure about this event, they had an event last year, and Ben Brooks pulled Todd Zilla. Now, of course, the way the arm wrestling world is, where Jamie shares a post and it's like, hey, we're going to talk about this Natrual Championship. And, of course, everyone's finding loopholes and things like that. So, Rob, if you can you give people the step-by-step of the testing for you and Ben? When does it happen? Has it happened? What's the crack?
All right. So, of course, if you're going to be a cynic and you're a skeptic, you can always try to find holes. But what this is a starting point, a launching point for hopefully something moving forward that will grow and create a trend. And then eventually it could be either a league of its own, a series of its own, or a safe place for people who they want to compete and they know they're capable, and they don't necessarily have the why or the lack of mental weakness to say that I need to do steroids to compete, because I think it's a weak play, and maybe they just want to just get in the game and have a more neutral parameter on athleticism and physicality. So right now, for this being the opening match, the inaugural, they said, we're going to start off with like a gentlemanly, you've both been lifetime natties, and, you kind of like make a decree, and then we're going to test when we get there before the match. So, of course, it's announced, and there'll be people shooting holes in it left and right. But instead of finding all the things that are bad about it, it's this launching point. I'm not saying that somebody couldn't slide through the cracks, but for fuck's sake, people, the only people that are really trying to shoot holes in it are the biggest criminals themselves. Nobody really looks for how to rob a bank unless you're thinking about robbing a bank. You know what I mean?
I might just Google that. And
listen, and I've done it. I've looked around and looked for the soft teller, and I used to do commercial cleaning, and I had to clean. My mom had a commercial cleaning company. We had a couple bank contracts, and don't think I didn't case the joint out when I was hard up a little bit. It's amazing what being broke will make you do.
That movie that Ben Affleck made, The Town, that's about you, right, Rob? I think.
No, but I was in jail.
Great movie.
I was in jail with a couple kids that were linked to that movie.
I believe it. Totally believe it. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm right in that. The jail that I would go to was right in that basic town. So, yeah. Something.
See, I knew it. I knew there was something I liked about you.
I'm going to tell you what. I sat there and daydreamed so many times about different crimes. If I was a scumbag, I could definitely get away with taking steroids, and I could absolutely get away with robbing banks and car theft rings and all that shit. But that's just not my lane. I like my freedom too much because it always catches up with you. And I have an affinity for a little's not enough. Everything I do, once I take a taste, I go more. So that would be the same way if I was a criminal. I'd end up either like going big or dead or in jail for my life. I like my freedom.
I'll see next time we catch up. I'll see how you start sitting, because if you sit with a lean, I know you've started robbing banks because you're sitting on your big fat wallet. That's so. Yeah. You can't lie to me, Rob. So Jamie, you're booked on this card, so I'll put it back up. People don't know. Taking on Clifton Erickson.
Yes, sir.
Apologies to you, Clifton. I don't know too much about you, so I will do my research before the event. Two things. One, this all natural at the top here with Ben. Obviously, your nickname being the Natural. What were your first thoughts when this was being booked?
Well, I was in touch with Clifton. Clifton and I are friends. I've known him for several years through arm wrestling. He's been arm wrestling not as long as me and Rob, but he's been in the sport for a dozen, maybe 14 years, I think. Kind of a big name out in his area. Hasn't really gotten the kind of the clout that he probably deserves, because he doesn't travel as much as me and Rob have in the past, or, we're certainly not on the level that Rob's at as far as notoriety, but I think I'm kind of that guy now that gets these matches with guys that catapults their career, which is great. I love it because, he's kind of a big guy, and I've met him before, and I'm tall enough, but he's just a bigger dude. So when they asked me if I could do this match, I said absolutely. He's not too heavy. We're gonna meet in the middle. And the promoter Josh, he offered to get me out there, and I said, yeah, absolutely. I've never been to Montana. And then he mentioned, hey, don't say anything, but the main card is RVJ versus Ben Brooks. I said, well, I'm definitely there then. Because that's exciting. I like what they did last year as far as the promotion, and then they take care of the athletes, and they had quite the show last year with Ben and Todd headlining it. So when you get a guy like Rob out there, that definitely draws eyes to it, kind of like when you throw Todd in the mix. But yeah, I couldn't say no to Clifton. He's got goals, and he wants to test himself, and I feel honored that I'm that guy, that I can still be relevant. You're not going to see me East versus West, but
he is very good.
Yeah. He's
good. He's one of those guys that he's just going to have one right outing and people are going to know who he is. But I talked to him and saw him pull when WAL had the tournament series before they turned to super matches, and he was hurting a lot of feelings. He was really fucking up people's days.
Yeah, I figured you would remember him because he was in your class. I was in the 165s. You guys were the 195s.
Well, I was the one who put him out, but before me, he was steamrolling kids. So,
Okay.
I mean, I remember saying like, "Ooh, he's like strong, he's stout, and he's built, got a good build." And
Yeah.
like you said, he's got some experience. And if you're not a bonehead and you're athletic, I don't like when people sit back and look at experience like as if there's only experience to only get you to a line. It's like, how deep can you go into the woods? Like halfway, you know? So if this guy's got 30 years experience and this guy's got 15, please don't look at him and go, well, you're more experienced than me. Well, yeah, he's a fucking grandpa. At some point in time, you got to know your body and how to arm wrestle, right? Like that's
Right.
like 5 years in tops, right? Other than like working around current injuries and current new strengths. But he's experienced and he is dangerous and he's good. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you told me you put him out of the tournament because now you're in my corner.
Right. Well, dude, you're talking
2016.
I had to be in your corner anyways, because whether they're good hosts or not, we're out of towners in a place like Montana. I don't think there's a soul in the whole state that gives a shit about our status and wants us to get smashed.
They went straight to Boston and Los Angeles and pulled in some. Okay, I love it. We're coming.
Protect my guys, Montana. I'm looking at you, Josh, you're the promoter. Protect my guys. If I find out they're getting injured, I won't do anything.
We're going to have to do, if we win, we're going to have to do like when they took the Beatles out the back door of the concert venue. Maybe fucking get a limo outside and shelter us off.
Yeah.
I don't know. Isn't that where John Lennon got shot out the back? So just right in the eye of the needle. Clifton's in the chat, which is cool. He says that he's a nobody. That's one of my... It's one of my biggest gripes. My biggest gripes when it comes to arm wrestling, when people call themselves a nobody. I think if you participate in the sport and you love the sport, to me, you're fucking somebody. You should never put yourself down like that, Clifton. You are somebody, my man. Oh, and he's just dropped a super chat. Thank you very much. He says, love this is happening. Thank you, gentlemen. Much respect for you all.
He's trying to be too nice. Those mind tricks don't work on me, man.
You're not selling us, motherfucker. Listen, deep down inside, you've got a little bit of dickishness in you. All arm wrestlers have to if they're going to be successful. And by playing the B rabbit, like, oh, I'm just a bozo, I'm a nobody, man, then fork over the cash that you guys are betting, and then maybe Jamie will be nice with you in the match. If you really are a nobody, you don't think you can win. We know you're a dog and you're in this. Stop playing the humble game. Humble's one thing, but like that over, like, I'm just a bum. Stop it.
Clifton, basically, let me translate it for you. Go get a big bag of shit and eat it. Don't be doing my boys like that. Thank you for the super chat, but don't be dogging my boys like that. No, definitely. Oh, there we go. Now the real Clifton's out. Now he's out.
There it is. There it is.
There you go.
That's what I want to see. Okay, here we go. Now I'm ready.
Yeah, see, people know RVJ smells a hustle. He's not dumb. He's not dumb, that's for sure. But so Rob, do you know the process with the testing that's going to happen?
So what's going to happen, I don't know what it is. He reached out to me, Josh reached out to me and asked me if I would be okay with a female nurse testing me or taking my test or whatever. I don't know if that means I gotta have my wang out and piss in a room, or it's gonna be blood or hair or whatever it is. But when you've got nothing to hide, I don't need to get too invasive. I'm like, whatevs, like whatever you need from me. Like I'm up for it. Like this has been something I've stood on my soapbox about for the last 2 decades. And whatever. Yeah, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like it's so I don't know what it is. And I know that there are levels of invasiveness, and with that comes a price tag. So again, the cynics will say whatever they say, but it's more than we've seen to date. As far as I know, this is the first tested super match probably ever. So as far as I know, I don't think there's ever been a tested super match.
Okay, let me know in the comments, guys, if you are aware. Do you know of anything, Jamie?
Not in my. Rob's been pulling maybe like a couple months longer than me. I think we started both in like 2005, 2004, and I've never seen it. I've heard people talk about it, but I don't think anybody did.
We were really before the super match wave. Super
Right.
match weren't a thing when me and Jamie got in.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they started taking people like one of the first ones. I mean, aside from like John going to Russia and pulling Alan Kareev and little checkered things like that. One of the first ones was like Craig Toulier pulling Solaris because they were both very dominant in their class, but they never cross-classed. So then, you know, the guys down at Grip and Rip in, I think it was like South Carolina or something, put something together and wanted to see like these two dominant guys, but what would happen if they met? And then things started, got a lot of attention, and then it started, okay, well, how about this one? And it almost became a new format that really started like snowballing. But I mean, I've been a pretty good student of the game, and I don't know anything that's been tested other than WAF, which has been an atrocity. It's been a fucking joke. Everybody who's won WAF, your winningest champions that we put on pedestals have all been banned or running hot. So regardless, it's a start. You know, people can say what they want. It's a start. It's because then if it gains the right attention and the right movement, who knows? You know, maybe it gets the right, like another level of protocol. And, you know, it's a good thing. We all have kids and we realize that time's going to go by and our time will pass when we're spectators or old masters. And I'd like to see my kids be able to be. How do I look my kids in the athleticism and hard work when I myself didn't adhere to that?
Yeah.
If that was too hard a road for me, how do I, like these fitness models who sit there and go, all you got to do is just count your calories and do your cardio. But they're out there blasting fucking cutting agents and Anavar and everything. Like it was too hard for them, yet they're berating the people saying, you know, to have some intestinal fortitude. So it's like, if I'm going to have my kids, I'm going to choose at least, I'm a fuck up in a lot of ways. Make no mistakes about it. I fucked up in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I hate a motherfucking hypocrite. I hate a hypocrite. And I will not be a hypocrite.
No, fair enough. And Josh is in the chat here, the man running the event. The test will be administered by a medical professional and sent in via FedEx Express to a reputable toxology lab. So there you go. That's what's gonna happen there. I have to do this first. A quick shout out to Josh. Let me put the poster back up. Very good poster, Josh, because last year I dogged him big time about his poster. He had a terrible poster and I got stuck into him. So this year, Josh, awesome. Great poster. Great poster there. So there's about 14 super matches on the day. Jamie's just topped out for a moment. 14 super matches on the day. We'll get the list up there. Rob being the main event, is main event caliber. Now, you were saying, Rob, you're hoping this is the start. Right now in today's society of arm wrestling, what is the chances of an actual league, a sustainable league being brought in?
Well, you know what's funny? I almost made a video about this the other day, but God forbid all the people out there, and you could smell them out, right? It's almost like you could tell who the Democrats are and who the Republicans are based on who's lobbying for what. If somebody says we want to take away our welfare system and we're not going to give away food stamps anymore. And listen, I grew up on food stamps and welfare. I was poor, but my mom was always trying to get a job and stuff. So you say you're going to take away the welfare system. You see the people start rioting. Let me know exactly who you are by how angry you get at a notion, and I'll know exactly where you stand. So everyone's trying to say that this could never happen. You'll never get rid of it. And it occurred to me the other day that we are in a time and age where we could be 1 degree of separation from it really, really happening at the highest level. Because when you talk about, when people say, oh, first of all, you say testing's big money. That's big money to the people like me and you and the people that are in the sport right now. But there are people out there that have like money, like real money, that pay athletes real money, that what we think is a lot of money isn't a piss in the pot for them. And let's say they had a vision of taking arm wrestling into something like DraftKings or Sportsbet. And now the one variable you cannot have, and I'll use an example, when you look at Matt Mask the first time he pulled Hermes Gasparini. Now, Hermes was like sub 240, I believe. Sub 240. So now they have a rematch. Let's say you got sports bet going and this big fucking money dude behind it that's controlling it. He's going to need to make sure that that testing's on point, because you might get the whole country of Italy betting the fucking farm on Hermes, and you're going to get all the people in Canada and the people who love Matt Mouse going, I've seen his training. He's a fucking beast. It could be worth millions. I'm not talking arm staking. I'm talking arm betting where somebody can go drop fucking 100K on a bet.
Yeah, they have that in Georgia.
Then Hermes shows up for the rematch, 40 fucking pounds of meat heavier. Well, if anything screws a match, that's it. Now, if you want to say you studied, you want to say you brought up a new 5x5 program and all that dog shit, congratulations on being an athlete and having some durability and a brain. But we're only 1 degree of separation for the one right person that think this is valuable and marketable, and they think sports betting is a great angle because there's a lot of smaller niche sports in the sports bet, like DraftKings and all that shit right now, that it could be matches could be worth millions. And if they say, well, now we don't give a fuck about the couple thousand it costs to test you guys because this represents millions. So it's not far off as people think when they go, you'll never change it. That's wishful thinking for the guy that is worth zero without it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Jamie?
You know, I missed some of this conversation because I got a phone call and then I had to get out of it. Then I couldn't hear the mic, so I just got in and out. So what was the initial question?
So we're just talking about, can this move into like, can we get a natural league happening?
I see. I think you can. Now, I've been in arm wrestling long enough to see a lot of peaks and valleys, but here's the one constant. There's not one organization that I believe is going to take it to that level that's currently involved or has been involved. Now, yes, I do business. I don't know exactly what it would take to get arm wrestling on that platform, but I don't think anything that's happening right now, no offense to any of those, they're not going to last. I don't even have to look at their playbook, their blueprint, where they're getting their funding. I don't think any of those are going to last too long. They might. Okay. You never know. But failing, you're going to need independently wealthy people to take something to that level. And I don't think the way things are, I don't know. I hate to sound negative. It's just I've seen.
Yeah, you got that. The only reason I'm asking the both of you, because like you said, 2005, you both have been around. You've seen things come and go. Right. You've seen things start and fail. You've seen things start and excel to the moon. You're both now a part of the YouTube era, this golden era that we're in. You know, matches and promotions popping up everywhere. So yeah, your answer I wouldn't take as negative or anything like that. It's just a guy that's been in the sport for almost two decades.
Arm wrestling just doesn't make enough money. Like it's not generating money for anybody. Let's take that from the small example, like somebody saying, hey, can you sponsor me? I'll wear your logo. That does nothing. Hey, let me promote your promo code. That generates nothing on the grand scheme of things because arm wrestling is so small.
Let me jump in there and play devil's advocate here, though.
Yeah.
So when we look at the numbers, Game of Arms actually had spanking numbers.
Right.
They were millions. They were over the moon with how it was taking off, way better than they could have even hoped for. They just canceled it because whatever shifted in their dynamic, they decided to go with more like The Walking Dead, scripted TV, as opposed to reality, because everybody was on the reality boat. But I do know from my personal experience, Game of Arms was on in like social clubs, and my mom was watching it, even beyond me being an arm wrestler, like people liked it. And people do know about arm wrestling. I think it's just packaged wrong. And my problem is I think we're putting the cart in front of the horse. So everyone's sitting there in the sport saying, well, there's no protocol, so we don't need to clean it up because nobody's telling us to clean it up. And my thing is maybe no one's stepping to it because it's not cleaned up. Do you think these people that look out there for something new to market, to sponsor, like I've said before, how many athletes would be perfect for Under Armour or Nike or nutrition? But nobody wants to step to that blatant like over the top. We all know steroids are in every sport, but the over the topness that arm wrestling is, the unbridled, like open, grotesque usage, it would have to be cleaned up first, and then it would be open to sponsors. And it's not that it's not watchable. There's things that are far less watchable, in my opinion, that are taking off. I think we're waiting for someone to come in, throw a bunch of money at us, and ask everyone to behave. No, it doesn't fucking work like that. We need to get our own shit in check for people to want to step to us. It's like being a guy who is got a fucking fucked up, gnarly ass beard and jacked up teeth. You don't brush and you're out of shape and you got no ambition. And you say, well, if I got me a girlfriend, I'd start taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Well, how the fuck do you get the girlfriend? You've got to actually have your shit in check to lure the bitch in, and then she gets hung up on you, and then down the road you can let yourself go after she's in love. But you don't get to fall in love with the dog shit person and then hope you'll change after that.
Yeah. That's what I tell people when they start their YouTube
channel. We're putting the cart in front of the horse. It is totally possible. Nobody wants to step to fucking scandal. Not the big sponsors.
Well, here, and I agree with you there. Like, let's say Game of Arms, for example. That brought millions of eyes to the sport because it was on AMC. It was after The Walking Dead. A lot of people saw advertising for it. Great, right? And then flash forward to now, you have the platforms where we have these famous arm wrestlers that are influencers almost, right? They can be called influencers now. Everything's on YouTube. You know, there's famous people coming out of nowhere just from arm wrestling. Arm wrestling has more eyes on it. So there's those levels of, well, it's getting there, but I still think there's one piece that's missing, and I'll be damned if I know what it is, because if I knew what it is, I would have taken care of it. But I'm not an independently wealthy person that could put things in motion like that. But I have seen it to where this could be it. But even AMC was a little hokey, right? It wasn't arm wrestling as a sport. It showed the sport, but it was also scripted in a way and guided. And then you flash forward to YouTube.
Yeah, but you can't know what would work if everybody refuses to try the thing they haven't tried. Like, you'll go in the YouTube's comment section and they go, oh, everybody wants to see the freaks. Everybody likes the way it is. I go, who the fuck is everybody? Show me the stadiums that are selling out. Show me the pay-per-views that are really comparable with big sport pay-per-views. Show me the who. Just because there's some niche people that like to watch some overgrown, grotesque fucking freakazoids running around doesn't mean that that's what the real population of 8 million people want to embrace. You know, don't forget, you know, when you talk to niche people, there's a lot of weird niches out there that have taken off that we would all look at and be like, what the fuck? But that doesn't mean when you talk to that group that's the majority opinion. So just because there's some pay-per-view selling and stuff, they've done this for like 60 years on an organized level this way. God forbid anyone goes like, oh, we're no growth opportunity. Let me try this drastically and change and try to build something in 5 years. Who knows what it could be? Nobody's fucking trying it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like Corey Miller's rating system, right? You know, a lot of people are giving Corey Miller's rating system shit, but it's like, okay, 5 to 10 years is going to iron out the truth.
Well, that's what it is.
But
nobody wants to make the investment. Everybody wants to go to a tournament tomorrow and count the $5,000 they made on the tournament in their pocket. They don't want to go to the tournament tomorrow, break even for the next 2 years, and then grow into something humongous. But because it's like going to college. See the doctors who struggle, they're eating ramen noodles and they're broke as fuck. They struggle their way through college. And people are like, why do you do that? You can just get out right now and go deliver pizzas. Yeah, you know what? You fucking can. The pizza guy right now is making more money this week than the doctor who's doing all his exams, peddling off fucking ramen noodles. But we'll catch you at the finish line, homie, and we'll see who's got the better career in life.
Right.
There we go.
My pizza guy delivered in a Corvette one time. I don't know if his dad owns the place or what. I was like, hey, here's a tip.
Those pizza joints make some coin. I'm telling you.
Like,
but we're back around, back to the event. Jamie, do you know if this is being live streamed? It's the same day as King of the Table. It's the same day Uncle John's pulling Jeff Dabe as well, February 24th. Do you know if this is a live stream or if Josh, if you're still in the chat, mate, feel free to answer.
Josh will probably answer that right now in the I think they were trying to do a pay-per-view. Am I right, Rob? Or if not, it'll definitely be live on one of their
I think it's one
Montana.
or the other, and I think it would be crazy to not.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Live
there he is.
streamed on Montana Armbender channel. Bang.
Okay. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Rob, what do you know about your opponent, Ben Brooks? And how are you going to whoop him?
I know he's a very big guy with a team of people around him, and he looks to train hard and have some very strong angles. It's always easy to sit there and think of what you can and cannot do, but I try to stay away from that, because if I see someone's got a hand like iron because no one could top roll him, that would subconsciously make me stay away from a top roll. But those people might not have a top roll like me. Same thing with hooking, same thing with everything. So I'm not going to know until I feel that data from like that first round, how I'm going to approach it. Now, I do have a game plan, and it's going to be different than a lot of game plans I've gone in with in years past. This is part of my evolution. So this is going to be more about me executing and seeing what he can do with it, as opposed to me trying to, in years past, I've been the person trying to work with what they threw at me. I'm going to take a new approach this year and be a little more athletic and a little more aggressive, and see what people can work with what I throw at them and how they counter that.
Yeah, I love it. Love it when someone has a game plan. Jamie, what's your game plan with Clifton? Surely you can't lose to a guy whose name is Clifton.
He's a big guy too. No, I do have a game plan. I've watched enough of film without getting too into it, because everybody has a game plan, right? And they always say everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Now, I'm gonna basically make him try to beat me, if that makes sense. Now, I'm not playing defense. I'm gonna be very offensive because that's part of my game. But I have to get into certain positions with these bigger, stronger guys to make them try to beat me. And I just can't get ahead of myself. But I'm not going to know what that is exactly till I grip him in that first setup. But that's kind of where I'm at. I've got a few options. And, hopefully my endurance kicks in and we're good to go if the match stops.
Best of 5, best of 7?
Yeah, best of 5.
Best of 5. Okay, beauty. And Clifton, the big red dog, you're in the chat, mate. What's your game plan to beat Jamie? Let us know in there. Montana Armbender, our man, is saying there'll be an 8-camera production with replay, a talent booth, and graphics to tell the tale. Production will be going as hard as RVJ. And we will have a new camera angle never seen before. We're going to get a camera angle from the tippy of RVJ's red rocket when he takes the test.
I was going to say, what is that, underneath the table?
Yeah, just could be. I reckon it'll be like a GoPro attached to your balls when you take the test. I think that'll be just
be
really
for that
good.
match, or are we gonna taking turns with that thing and you're gonna clean it every time? How's this working?
I mean, it's like borrowing your buddy's cup. You don't really got to clean it. You just go for it.
I think I'm 3 matches before Rob, so I'll let you know how it feels.
Yeah, wet.
Just get the sanitizer. Speaking of the matches, I'll get the matches back on the screen here. Now, apologies to the athletes at the Montana Armbenders Super Match lineup. I haven't heard of many of these people. I'll start with you, Jamie. Besides yourself and obviously Rob's match, is there someone on the list or a match on this list where you're like, oh, keep an eye out for those guys?
There's a lot of local talent here in that region, and I think the most well-known person, other than Rob on this list, is probably Jake Houston. I mean, his name's been popping up a lot. I believe he's a 176er. I've been so out of touch with the weight classes lately because I've just been going through them like this the last couple of years. But I know he's a force, and his opponent Dan is really good too. And I think it's his brother that's pulling in that the match right before. But there's a lot of tough guys in those areas, man. I've traveled the last several years to different regions and just gripping up with different people. It's amazing, the unknown talent. I went to a tournament in Kansas City for the first time a few years ago. There was 27 guys in my class, and I've never pulled any of them.
Huh.
Amazing.
Right. That's the thing,
and I
right?
did win because I'm that guy.
Yes.
That's the thing, right? You'll go travel and you'll bump into a guy that's a quote unquote no name, and he feels as good or better than the guy who's a big name.
That's it.
And I a lot of these guys, I think there's a couple I know by name. I'd say that I do watch the Montana Armbender channel, and I do watch a lot of things from all over the country in the Midwest and everything. So I think I would notice them more by look than I do by name. I'm terrible. I'm not terrible with names, but I'm terrible with names. So
Yeah.
I just know that there is, this was like when Mike Gould was having his event, and there was a lot of guys who didn't travel out of Canada. There was a lot of sneaky good talent up there. They just didn't come out of Canada, or they weren't confident enough to leave Canada yet, but they were that good. So like, these, I hate that idea that they go, oh, well, he's a nobody. Everybody was a nobody until they did something that made them a somebody. That's everybody. John Brzezinski was an absolute nobody at one point in time. The people probably fucked up saying his name and everything.
Yeah. I reckon Travis would have, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Clifton's in there, and he says, I have some ideas for sure. Jamie Sheldon is probably the weakest person I've ever seen in my life. I hope not. I've seen a lot of footage and watched him for years. I think I know I will be better than him, and I think I know where he thinks he will be better. Love it. Montana Armbender's in there, says there will be an overall king of the table pool as well. So Jamie and RVJ will get to see how strong the lineup is.
And it's at a casino, and I heard people just keep throwing money on the table. This is fun. See, Rob will love this.
I'm gonna know how strong the lineup is, because I'm going against the strongest guy in Montana. So if I win, I'm going right to the fucking bar and getting a double fisty.
Oh, it's going to be great. February 24th. Josh, can you tell me what time it starts? Hopefully it doesn't clash with King of the Table, and we can check out both events, and it's going to be on there. And also, if you've got any questions for Jamie Sheldon or Rob Vidgen Jr. that's not hanging shit on him, jump them in the comments now, because I am very excited. Jamie, I do have a question for you. With the last few years, you're one of the guys that was on ESPN, rocking people, looking real good. And now this YouTube situation's happening, and more promotions are popping up left, right, and center, and qualifications and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Is that more motivating, or is it just a bit overwhelming and it's like, the sport's probably getting past me now?
No, Cobra said it best. The sport retires you. Now, you can talk to Cobra now and see exactly what he meant by that, but it's like when you try to retire, and I don't think any of us want to retire, but we get busy. We get life. Rob has 7 kids, 12 kids. I have like a few less than him. We get busy. I've got 2 businesses now, and my priorities aren't arm wrestling, but I still want to be involved. And I always tell people I'm always going to be relevant in some fashion. I'm not going to be at the elite level. That was not my path, and it was never going to be. But I'm always in that, well, I'm going to make some money when I go, because I won't take first, but Brent Rockers will whoop my ass, but I'll still take second or third. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll keep showing up because I love the sport. I love seeing my guys and everybody else. But if I need a match to get motivated for, or like, for example, with the World Series of Arm Wrestling, Greg appointed me as his athlete director, which means, okay, cool. I get to call my friends and tell them, hey, we got some big shit happening. Let's all meet and let's get some of this money together, because if it doesn't conflict with your super match schedule, you guys can win some good money and get all these great athletes together to pull in tournaments for great payouts at the finals. So, and Rob knows because I've already called him about it.
Yeah.
But I just like to be relevant and involved in the sport that I love, and that's why I'm still here. I'm not trying to be a YouTube star. I'm not trying to be on East versus West. I applaud everything everybody does, but I'm still going to show up and bang. And you know what? I do have to mention this because Rob put out a video about legendary status, and I thought it was the most brilliant thing, especially being an American and slightly biased. Like, when we refer to legends, our legends are guys that are 30, 40 years into the sport. Now, some kid off the street will walk up to me and Rob and say, because it's happened, oh, you guys are legends just because we've been in the sport for 20 years. But do we consider ourselves that? Maybe Rob, not me, because Rob is one of the elites too, right? And I'll call him that. But like calling somebody a legend when they only had like a 3-year span in Europe was one of the best. Great. But he was a 3-year span in Europe. And then that was it.
Right.
Are they really legendary when you compare them to our legends?
Because you guys watch
Ron
other
Bath
sport.
a legend.
Yeah.
Ron Bath has been arm wrestling for 40 years at the elite level. That is legend.
Right. You take any sport. I don't care if the guy is baseball, basketball, anything. Fuck boxing. Look at when Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was undefeated. He beat Mike Tyson. But what else did he do besides that? Nobody puts him down on the all-time great list. Nobody. When you take baseball, if you came in through a season of no-hitters, but then you compare yourself to Roger Clemens, who had 25 fucking seasons, tell me where you rank on the fucking list. Don't come in like a flash in the pan and then want to have that season. So everybody right now is talking about Patrick Mahomes' stats compared to Tom Brady's, same for same. And Patrick Mahomes has tremendous trajectory. What an athlete. Yeah. But he's still got to go those 20-some-odd years. And I'll tell you what, a lot can happen, buddy boy. If he gets banged out of this Super Bowl and retired, everyone will remember Patrick Mahomes. Kid had great talent. But they'll never put him in the ranks of the legends like Joe Montana and fucking Tom Brady.
Yeah, when I watched that video, I was like, yeah, Rob likes other sports because I'm big on legacy winning. It's all good winning it, but can you do it again?
Well,
again?
what it is it was a testament.
Season.
Part of it was it wasn't just steroid hate, but he's one of those examples that went so fucking hard for those wins that he couldn't even maintain it for that long. That he disappeared for 11 years. Now, when you're an American here, if you disappear for more than 6 months, you're a scared piece of shit that's like hiding in your house and you should be written off every list ever. But this guy hides for 11 years, and they want to go and write him off as we're releasing the Kraken again. Know what I say? Fucking bring him.
Yeah, we have so many examples here in the States. I mean, Craig Toulier took a step away when I got into the sport, came back, and he's still banging. But like he was a great, well-known, probably on his way to legendary status when we got into the sport. From all the weight classes up, and the guy's still in it. Like, that's legendary status, right? Ingen Terzi from Europe is legendary status because the guy's still banging.
Well,
right? He didn't leave the typical age 30 shelf life.
Right.
You know, our guys are still in it at 40, 50, 60.
Longevity and success.
Yeah.
Your resume, your body of work matters. Don't do one good thing and then want to call that a body of work. Your body of work. Show me your fucking resume. Don't go to your job interview for the biggest job of your life at a Fortune 500 company and say, well, I was the best person at McDonald's flipping them fucking burgers for 1 year. They want to know, what is your experience? What is your credentials? What the fuck have you done? You know what I'm saying? And the way I saw it was, he ain't done a lot to me. And when he did a lot, he did it in a way that was actually cheating the fucking system. So, hey, just because no one wants to hear it doesn't make it less valid.
Yeah.
And that's why we love you, Rob. That's why we love you. And everyone in the chat.
Maybe you and maybe Jamie. But
hey,
let me
I
tell
had
you.
to add that because I wanted to touch on that because I saw that video and I'm like, he's right, dude. Like, when you think about legend, damn, that word gets thrown around a lot. And it's like, and look, guys, I am not. I'm just the most seasoned mother that shows up at practice because I've been in the sport longer than everybody.
Yeah,
I'm just the guy that's done it. Hey, and I help.
The other thing we have a problem with is, as much as we equally misuse and misunderstand legend, I think we misuse and misunderstand elite. What do you think is elite? What would you classify as elite in the sport?
Everybody above me.
That's dog shit though. What is above you?
I knew he was gonna get me.
So here's my take on elite. If you're good enough to be, if we had an Olympics of arm wrestling, and you're good enough to even qualify for the Olympic trials for your country, especially in a powerhouse country like the United States of America. We're not talking about Jamaica. No offense to you Jamaican arm wrestlers out there, but you're not on the map as like arm wrestling. But, you know, countries like the United States where it started, Ukraine, if you're even in the fucking running to be a representative of your country in your class out of a world of hundreds of millions of people, you are, in fact, elite. It doesn't matter if he goes and pulls David Samusha and doesn't win. That's like the guy, Tyson Gay, from the United States who ran against Usain Bolt. Sure, Usain Bolt beat him, but it was by like 0.2 of a second, 1/10 of a second sometimes. I'm going to tell you what, everyone else Tyson Gay runs against, he beats in the whole fucking world. But you can look at him and say, well, you're not elite because you lost to Usain Bolt. It's like, well, yeah, in a world of 6 billion people, he's the one guy who beats me. And I'm the best guy in my whole country of 350 million people. How is that not elite? How is it not?
Yeah, I think if you hit a certain level
in the whole world, you're probably elite.
Yeah, I think if you're,
then I'm elite. There we go. All
there
right.
you go.
Yeah.
We just settled that one.
Put it this way: if I drop you off in every non-suspecting country that's not an arm wrestling country, you probably take it over. How many countries do you take over like fucking Attila the Hun before you hit a country and a person that you lose to? Let me drop you off at all the non-suspecting countries first before we go into the suspected countries, including this one right here. Let's bring you to all the other countries. Then we'll start hitting places like Mexico, Canada, United States. Then we'll bring you out east. But east will give you some bunny countries because there's plenty of them. And then how long before you just arm wrestle and go on the voyage like Highlander, taking scalps, before you bump into someone that can beat you? You're going to be in the gazillions. Fucking, because there's probably 20 guys in your class that will beat you out of fucking 8 billion people. Do the math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
guys hear that? You're all elite. If you can beat 8 billion people and you're beating everybody in your city.
If you're really like one of like, if you could represent your country, like let's say what they give in the Olympic trials, like top 3 from a country, especially a big country like ours, a big population, fucking right, you're elite. I don't care if you can't go beat the #1 guy in the world. If you're number 10 in the world, that's elite.
Yeah, I think where Rob's coming from.
Those guys aren't in.
Yeah, we're quick. I mean, when you're mentioning this, Rob, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, where you're coming from is we're so quick to just write athletes off. And the prime example to me, Dave Chafee's elite. Like you said, Rob, drop him off. It's anywhere. And he's not taking L's, but because he is losing to the top 10 guys in the world, and you know, maybe a couple of under, but injuries and whatever, let's not get into details. People just write him off. He's garbage.
Yeah.
Michael Todd's another example.
Yeah.
He was like losing to Gennadys.
Let's not forget, not long ago, Devin was on that list. But then Devin got on a winning trajectory after Gennady.
Yeah.
But when Devin lost to Gennady, people had him written off too. This sport and the people watching it will turn on you faster than a stripper will on a greasy pole.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like this last year. I went on a crazy run at the beginning of the year. I was undefeated in all my tournaments, super matches, until I pulled, I think it was Bob Brown. I think I lost that one. I lost the last match last month, but I still pulled the tournament and took second off the couch to Vrej, which he beat everybody that day. So it's like we can still bang
like
when
Vrej,
we want to.
Like who the fuck is Vrej? I don't know. Only a pound for pound world champion.
Right.
Fuck. How did you do that, Jamie? How could you lose to that guy?
It's quite funny when Michael Todd had a couple of elite losses, everyone was telling him to retire. So then he went around America and pulled in tournaments and was whooping everyone. And then all of a sudden the narrative changed to, oh, Michael's only beating bums. It's like, hang on.
Right. He can't win. He can't win, unfortunately.
So, hey,
love the guy.
Here's a quick summary of elite in the numbers. Have you ever seen that, like, you know that website, Quora?
Yeah.
Quora. I don't know what the fuck you put
I get their emails about
it's kind of like Reddit. Yeah. So one of the questions was kind of like, how good are NBA basketball players really? Like, how good is the worst NBA player really? And a guy got on there that was actually like an international professional from like another country. He goes, I can answer this one. He goes, he named a name off that was basically statistically like his stats were amongst the worst ever in NBA history. All his stats were dog shit. And then he got dropped from the league and went over to compete in like European League. And he ended up having the highest stats of all time in that league. He was hitting like 70 points a game. He goes, they're crazy good. When you think about getting drafted into the NBA, the biggest stud you saw in high school might go to college. Then they take the biggest studs, and they might not even be colleges that are like the Big Ten that get drafted. There are bench warmers that are the biggest studs that ever came out of their states that don't even get off a fucking bench. So the best basketball player you've ever seen in your life doesn't even hold a candle to the worst guy in the NBA. So the guy who's warming the bench and grabbing the towels right now in the NBA is fucking elite. But does that mean he's Kobe Bryant? No. But he's way better than anyone you'll ever meet in your life. And if you played a basketball game with him, you'd be rocked at their speed, agility, and they'd feel like they were on another fucking planet. That's elite. Everyone that gets that little NBA thing, I don't care if it's a practice squad, is fucking elite.
Yeah, because I think if we just stop writing athletes off so quickly.
Oh my God, it's literally one match to the next.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have no arm wrestlers left. We'd have no arm wrestlers left. I wouldn't be talking to you two because since I've been in the sport, you guys have taken a couple of L's. You know, Jamie, you were just bringing it up before. Bob Brown and Vrej. Oh, not talking to Jamie anymore. Write him off. He's had a couple
but the question, like you said, you can't point to the guy who that hasn't happened to. If you throw yourself in the arena enough, you are going to get caught because there's guys out there that are going hard. You can't find the guy that hasn't taken L's. They haven't created him yet.
That's right. You've got to. But back to your match, Jamie, and Clifton, if you're still in the chat, you can answer the question as well. What are you coming in at? What are you weighing in at come February 24th or hoping to weigh in at?
Well, that's the tricky part because a few months ago we set the weight cap at 220.
Okay.
I weighed 195 2 days ago. I was 185 last month when I pulled off the couch with at the California thing, but I was still, training a little bit enough. Just wasn't eating enough. But I said, okay, well, let me get back into this because we've been real busy and excuses aside, stressed out. When I stress, I lose weight. I don't gain. That's my problem. So it's tough for me to pack on the pounds, which I think I'll probably make a run at the 198s or less moving forward. But we agreed at 220. So I told him I'll at least get to 205, and he's coming down. And I'm going to look every bit of 220.
Yeah.
So I carry all the weight in my upper body like Rob. Rob's the bigger version of me, but he's got more attributes. We wear the same size shirt, but he just stretches it out way better.
Yeah. Well, John Terrian wants a piece of you, Jamie. John Terrian, do you know him? John Terrian?
You already beat Dallas, so Dallas beats me. I did beat Artem though, and I'm going to take that with me, and I'm never pulling him again because I beat him right before he got really good. So, congrats to you though, John.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're meeting somewhere in the 200s. Let's just call it that in 2 weeks. Whether I'm fully clothed.
What will you come in, Rob? Because Ben's he's massive, so I don't think.
You know what? Ironically, I'm going the opposite direction. I made the jokes about King of the Table. I was always a fit guy, and some of the fat jokes got to me. And of course, I'm a natural guy. I'm in my mid 40s, and life gets away from you, and you like to have your fun, and then only when you realize that you had too much fun. So I've been going to the gym and cleaning up the diet. Tonight I'm having a couple wines. I'm on the show. It's Friday, but I've been doing pretty good with putting the gym in, doing some. I don't do cardio. I play sports with my daughter because when you do cardio, I think you watch the clock. But it's easy to knock out an hour and a half of volleyball, pickleball, tennis, whatever with my daughter. And I burn a shit ton of calories. And I feel like I'm on a good path that I'll be noticeably fitter and leaner in appearance than I was a king of the table. You know, so if I had to guess, I'll be at least maybe like 10, 15 lighter, but maybe recomped. Hopefully some of it's recomped because I've been lifting pretty heavy in the past, 2 months.
There you go.
So maybe it'll be just a different structure. I'm hoping it's different look. And by the time I get to arm guards, I'd like to be a very fit, like 210 again.
Yeah, brilliant. Do you know how much Ben will be coming in at?
No, he looks like he's high 200s, maybe even crested on 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Well, you just took care of Brandon Allen the other day, so you pulling heavyweights. I don't think that's going to be a problem come February 24th.
No, it's all about efficiency. Just be a machine. That's it. Everyone worries about horsepower like dog shit. That's the thing, is they're all just like bulldozers. Nobody wants to be a fucking, it's like, got to have a little bit of efficiency, a little bit of athleticism.
Right.
At least I do.
Well, what's your future looking like, Jamie? As you said, you're running Nat Fit, you're running Antone's Italian Pizza. Just quickly, everyone, if you can, head over to their Instagram here, Antone's Italian Eatery. Let's start getting him there. Look at all that delicious food. Oh, for Valentine's Day next week. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Been slanging those.
And if you want a job, they're hiring. Go hit them up over there. Please go support Jamie. He's an absolute superstar. Get over there. Antone's Italian Eatery. For those on Instagram, get over. See the Aussie Arm Wrestlers following. Get over there.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And support Jamie, because Jamie's a good dude. He's always helped out the Aussie Arm Wrestler. So the least we can do is hit a bloody follow button on Instagram. If someone can just drop that in the chat. Oh, let's there we go. Let's get that in there. If anyone, I'll get to your question in a moment, Jamie, but if anyone's got any questions, because we'll go for about another 5 minutes. These guys have given up their Friday night for the Aussie Arm Wrestler, so I really appreciate it. Jamie, the future, what's it looking like? Any tournaments, any matches lined up, any opponents on your wish list?
Okay, well, I'm going to pull in 2 weeks in Montana, as we just discussed. After that, I don't have anything planned set in stone until June, and we actually kick off the World Series of Arm Wrestling Season 3 at my restaurant. And every 2 weeks we're in a different place, and I'm going to all of them. So I'll be in Texas, I'll be in Florida, I'll be in Atlantic City, Rob. I think Missouri, somewhere in Missouri, I'm not sure where, and then back in Utah. So we're going to do 6 qualifiers there. I'm going to help out. I'm not pulling all of them. I think I'm going to pick one event and pull. Because I can't pull every 2 weeks. I'm not that guy. I'll pull once a month, but I don't need to pull all those events. I'm just going to be there to help out whatever Greg needs me for. So my summer into the fall is focused on that, helping build this organization, because I think he's on a good path with what he's trying to do. He's giving away tons. I think it's $85,000 in cash and prizes this year. And if you win your weight class at your qualifier, you get a free room in the finals to win. Like I was telling Rob, someone like him could win both hands and take home $5,000 if he's not busy in November. So that's kind of like my main focus. I might pull a couple more tournaments within driving distance, but I'm not set on chasing any demons down. And but if somebody wants to, pull me and fly me out somewhere, I'm down.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
I know Travis. I can always be bought.
Yeah, we all can. I know we've been talking about Montana, but for those who don't know, if you can do a quick summary of, because a lot of people don't know what they should know, but they don't know what the World Series of Arm Wrestling is.
Well, it's been 2 years since Greg Sharp's had this vision, and he's got incredible production for this, and he's filming a series that he's been in talks with all these different networks and platforms to have it actually aired on, and I'm not in those conversations because I'm not, but he's this close to getting it on like Amazon Prime and a couple other things. So once it clicks, once he agrees to the terms, but either way, he's still going and he's still giving away more money each year. Put it this way, I've pulled left-handed once in my life. I don't pull left-handed. You'll never find footage of it. I think it was Greg Gray that beat me like in Bakersfield, California, which is like, anyways, this was like years ago. Anyway, the finals, since I was there pulling right-handed, I entered left-handed because there wasn't enough guys to pull the left, and I made money. And they gave away to 8th place.
Oh.
Or actually, no, I think it was 6th place this time. I think they're doing 8th place this year. But in the 209 class, Brent Rockers cleaned house both hands and made, several $1,000s and had a shot at the overall too against, Cody Merritt and Corey West, because both of them showed up. So, you go to a qualifier, and if you're the man in the room, you could win $1,000 and get your room paid for the finals. So
Jeez.
it's the World Series of Arm Wrestling. He's trying to build something a little bit different, and they focus on certain athletes, and they want to kind of build stories on them, and they're giving away. I think it's the highest paying prize money in the United States.
Wow.
And nobody's taking it really serious because first year, second year, people just kind of go, eh. And a lot of our elites, back to that conversation, are focused on pulling on those big stages across country or over in the other side of the world. But what if we have it right here in the States where you don't have to travel too far? Because that's the projection that he's got. That's why I kind of joined on to be his kind of like right hand, because I see the vision.
Yeah.
And come on, man. That's good money, especially if you can pull both hands.
Shit, yeah.
And possibly bang with some of the other best in the country that you guys never get to meet under any other circumstance. Right?
Yeah, beautiful. Well, right before season 3 kicks off, get in touch, Jamie, and we'll do another show about it all. And whoever's pulling or whatever, if we want to get the promoter on, just hit me up.
Of course. Yeah.
And we'll do something there. Just quickly from Montana, Armbender, before we wrap up with the super chat. Says, thank you, Jake, for putting together this awesome promotion for the Montana Armbender. Ready, bang. No, thank you for putting on an awesome event so I can talk to my mates about their matches coming up. So thank you, Josh. You're dead set legend. And yes, going back to the word legend, I throw it around every single day. It's a term of endearment over in Australia. Rob, so we know you're pulling Feb 24th, you're pulling March 23rd. Is there anything you've got planned after or you want? Because I'm going to get you back on the show with James Wall to talk about that match.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So that's the 2 I got coming up, and they're coming fast. After that, I know Knuckles Up has an event in May. Now, whether I'm pulling or not, I guess that's going to be kind of like up in the air, but I will definitely be there because it's a drive, and I love the production and what they're bringing. But I might try to squeeze my way on that card. There was talks with Ingen about possibly going to East versus West, because honestly, if I'm running hot and I'm feeling good, I'm confident in what I can do, and I want to do it. I like the shock and awe treatment. You know what I mean? Like, David Blaine already knows what people's expressions are going to be when he goes and does some weird shit to them. They just don't know that they're going to be impressed by it yet because they're looking for all the trickery. So I want to go David Blaine, the arm wrestling world, and pull some shit off at East versus West. Because if I'm where I'm thinking I'm going to be come late spring, early summer, then I've talked to Ingen about going back there, provided Wall doesn't step back into the game.
Yeah.
Wall steps back in the game, it changes everything for all the arm wrestlers, myself included. Hopefully, it's the relationship I hope it is. And if they step back in, it's not a disrespect to anybody, but they're the big dick. They're the fucking QB, the prom king. You were waiting to call you back, and you've been slumming it at all these little sidebars for all these years. And then the prom king comes back and hits you up on Facebook 10 years later before you say, I do. Gotta rethink your vows.
Well, that's the best promo for them ever, right? Yeah, they should use that film.
Well, you know what? Okay, so the best event I went to in my life for production, athlete treatment, and overall vibe was Knuckles Up. That wasn't a blowboy thing. The way they treated and respected and acknowledged, and the vibe with the athletes, and Jake, we've talked about it many things. We sat down for breakfast and we stayed there chatting till lunch. So it was just a good energy with the people that were there.
Yeah.
That was the best overall event. For numbers, for money, for hopes and growth in talent. And you can't say we didn't have elite talent because a lot of guys who were holding East versus West belts competed for WAL. We had John Brzezinski, we had Devin Larratt, we had fucking Todd Hutchings, we had everybody. And I can tell you what, once I whip Sasho's ass, I'm going to be a guy who had the belt, and then I'm competing with Wall if they come back and everything's copacetic. So you can't say we're not an elite organization when like 3 of the weight classes were wrapped up by guys from Wall.
Yeah. No, I hope it comes back.
Wall was a good time.
Yeah, I got 2, maybe 3, and then I'm kind of like limbo, but I don't look too far ahead because right now I'm 2 weeks out from a big hungry motherfucker who wants to make an example out of me. So if you get too far looking into the future, you can get like caught on a snag. You know, if you're looking over there and you're not looking at the tripwires in the ground, you can get twisted up pretty quick. Hit a snare.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking one at a time. There's been talks about Schoolboy too, but he's moving on. He's a YouTube guy. He doesn't want a real bad motherfucker. He wants a guy that's going to make him look good. Bowen, another one. And why did Bowen lose to that guy, man? Wow, what a fucking kick in the dick that was.
But yeah, he was on the show yesterday, and he just did exactly what you said. He just overlooked it. Didn't take it seriously.
When the stock's rising, you gotta temper your shit. Because now in the combat sports, even one loss. Now me, you, hopefully Jamie, and all of us with rational minds know that that's bullshit. It happens. If you put yourself out there, you get caught on a bad day. You didn't sleep. It was a kid you beat, and he caught you off guard. But in combat sports, one loss even, you go from being hero to zero fast.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts your stocks. Clifton with another super chat. Thank you heaps. He says, I need to go train. Be ready, Jamie, because I will be. He's ready to rock and roll. Clifton, I hope you have a good match, but you step on Lego with bare feet because I want my guy Jamie to win. But I hope it's a good match, mate. I hope it's a good match, and thank you for your support. Well, guys, we'll wrap it up there. We started with Montana. We hope the WAL comes back. Obviously, you guys know a bit more than what I do. Rob and Jamie, thank you so much for coming on the show. Absolutely love having you guys on, and I hope you guys kick ass on February 24th. I'll be in Dubai for that one, so hopefully the times work out and I can watch it in the hotel room.
You can get that set up where you got your commentary here and your phone over here, or like any proper video gamer, they got a couple TVs. Ain't nothing wrong with renting more than one thing. If you're a fan of arm wrestling, I expect no excuses why someone couldn't tune in. Because let's be honest, I like to think at the very least, we got more to say than some of them flat ass motherfuckers out there that are flatter than a bus driver's ass.
Oh, what a way to end. Jamie, any final words? Can you top that?
No, never going to top that.
Go follow. Where else can we follow Antone's Italian Eatery besides Instagram?
Come to Southern California and have some good food at this nostalgic place that I own now. So arm wrestlers are welcome. You'll love it.
I'm excited. I'm going to go.
Beautiful.
Oh, I'd love to have you.
I'm going to the Atlantic City event. I'm going to punch my ticket, and I'm going to go out there, and he promised me he'd play me Frank Sinatra on loop with all I could eat of his authentic best dishes. And he said he don't even cook, so we can hang